Hey everyone, this is my third video in the postpartum series that I wanted to do in the month of October to celebrate the birth month of my baby, all the things I've learned this year I wanted to share. And I spent my first two videos talking a lot about budgets and my medical bills, but this video is going to be about maternity clothing and postpartum clothing. And I hadn't anticipated, I hadn't intended that I would do a video like this. But I did a big brain dump of all the things that I've learned and all the tips that people gave me that I was so glad I listened to, and I couldn't believe how many of those things were related to clothing. So it's not really so much about style, and I wouldn't say I'm like very much a stylish person. I just like to wear sort of like plain tank tops, t-shirts, and leggings, but more about just like the practicality of certain things. So I wanted to share them with you, and I hope that you find them useful. So here we go. All right, so the first tip is to accept donations from your friends, your family, and your coworkers. This thing happened to me where I was like, hey everyone, I'm pregnant. And all the people that had just had babies were like, I have stuff for you. And I hope that you are in a situation like that, just because it's really nice to get hand-me-downs. I personally felt that maternity clothing was way more expensive than regular clothing, and it was hard for me to pay for that because it's not really an investment that's long-term. Like, it's something you're gonna wear for a few months and then you're gonna either donate it, pass it along to somebody else, or pack it up. So if people have stuff for you, take them up on it, take it. Even if somebody says, here's a whole bag, make sure you ask them, do you want this back when I'm done, or do you want me to donate it? Most people are just like, just pass it along to the next person. Even if you get a whole bag from somebody and you only keep 2 things and donate the rest, like, it's 2 things that you didn't have to buy. So definitely when people offer, take them up on that. Next tip, you do not need a lot of things. I sort of right off the bat realized, like, I'm not gonna buy a ton of stuff because it's not like, well, let me get a pair of black pants and navy pants and gray pants and khaki pants, you know, stuff so I have variety, and you don't need it for that long. So for me personally, I had these 2 pairs of pants that were amazing. I found this like super random on a rack at Burlington for $12.99, a pair of black maternity pants, and they just like hung in there amazingly well for the entire pregnancy. Then I got a pair of these dark green hand-me-down. They were just a hand-me-down from my sister's friend. They were from Motherhood Maternity, and they lasted me the entire time. And it's not like regular clothing where you want it to last or you need it to last for a few years maybe. You know, I had just alternated these 2 pairs of pants every single day. And at the end of my pregnancy, when they looked a mess and I was like, oh, these have definitely seen better days, it didn't matter anymore because I had a baby and I didn't need the pants. So anyway, I don't think that you need a ton of different items. Just pick a few things and see if you can kind of pair them with different tops or different ways to style things so that you don't need to buy a ton of different items. Next tip, don't buy too many things really early on. And there are 2 reasons. One, hopefully things will go on sale. I didn't have a great experience maternity clothing shopping just because, I don't know, I felt like everything was really overpriced. Even the stores where I loved like shopping in general, Target, Kohl's, I felt like they didn't have a ton of options and things were just a little bit pricier. Normally a clothing section has good sales or at least like a nice decent clearance rack, and I never felt like that with maternity clothing. Regular tank top is $7 and maternity tank top is like a bajillion. Not really, but like maybe $14, and I'm like, why is it so much more expensive? So if you find stuff you like, maybe put it in you know, a cart or save it on a list or something and see if it goes on sale later. And the second reason you don't want to buy stuff too early, in addition to maybe it might go on sale later, is because you might think that you're going to like something, but you actually are not comfortable in it. So me, for example, everyone said, oh, you're going to be pregnant all summer in Florida, you're going to be super hot, you're going to want dresses, definitely. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I started wearing dresses and I was just like super hot and like really uncomfortable, and I found that I was way more comfortable wearing pants, believe it or not, in the summer in Florida. So I just recommend like maybe getting a few, maybe 1 or 2 of each thing, trying it out, and then as your body changes, seeing if that's still comfortable, and then hopefully you didn't buy a ton of stuff in the beginning that you wound up not using. So just think about that as you start going shopping. Next, okay, this is kind of a little regret I have. Buy yourself a really beautiful dress that you love for your baby shower. I just was kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like going shopping, and I was like, oh, like a good maternity store where they're gonna have like really beautiful dresses is either gonna be like kind of a far drive, or I'm gonna have to order stuff online. And you know, I don't know, the sizing for maternity clothing is so hard too. Like, I remember I bought a dress that was a size small, it fit me perfectly, and I bought a pair of pants that were extra large and they fit me perfectly. So I saw those items in person and I knew they would fit, but online I was like, I don't know what to get, like what size am I even? And it's just, I don't know. So I never ordered a dress, and then it was like the night before one of my baby showers, and I had two. And I just like wound up going to Old Navy and buying a dress that like fit. It wasn't really a maternity dress, and it was pretty. It was pretty and I liked it and I'm grateful for it. But I just sometimes like see people with like the beautiful like flowy maternity dress and their flower crown, and I'm like, I don't know, I kind of wish I had done that. So anyway, it's not a regret that I'm like crying about, you know, it's not that big of a deal to me, but looking back, like if I had to do it again, I would have splurged. Even though I'm really cheap, I think I would have spent the 70 bucks on a dress that I really wanted. So if you're kind of like back and forth about that, I would say to go for it. The next tip that I have is to consider items that are not maternity items and you just size up. Now, I know this does not work for everything. I remember reading that and I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. But actually there are some ways when it did. So look for stretchy things that will maybe take you into the end of your pregnancy and that can be really good after you have your baby when you're not in your original clothing. So for example, I got this tank top, okay? Just like a regular plain black tank top, okay? Look how stretchy this is. Like, it was so soft and so stretchy, and this fits me now and it fit me when I was like 2 days postpartum. So think about things that maybe might take you through the end of your pregnancy and things that also might be good for right after you have the baby too. Speaking of specific clothing items, this was my #1 favorite thing that I had, okay? These shorts, okay, they are from Motherhood Maternity and they're sleeve shorts. And it's funny because if you read reviews online, people go back and forth. Like, some people will be like, you can definitely get away with wearing these in public. And other people are like, they're definitely not for in public shorts. Like, those are sleeve shorts. Let me tell you something. If you've seen me in public in the last year, I have been wearing these shorts. I bought 3 pairs of them, 2 in size large, 1 in size medium, and the large fit better when I was pregnant and the medium fits super great right now. They're almost kind of like that yoga top. I don't know if you can see like yoga pants, the top of yoga pants where it's kind of like a thick band. And when you're pregnant, they fit really nicely like right under your stomach. And then now the large are big, but man, I still wear them because they're so soft and so comfortable. So no one's paying me to say this or anything, and I'm not gonna recommend a bunch of different clothing, but these shorts are the best maternity shorts and postpartum shorts, and your baby's almost a year but you're still wearing them shorts, I have ever owned. And they're like 15 bucks. So I highly recommend them. Okay, I wanna go back to the tank tops for 1 minute. So a nice stretchy tank top is gonna be super comfortable as your body adjusts, it changes, but also sometimes these tank tops can be amazing for breastfeeding or pumping if you don't wanna go buy a ton of nursing tops. So sure, if you know you're gonna breastfeed or you think you might and you wanna get a few, definitely go for it. But I found, like, look at this tank top. Like, this is so stretchy that like it would be super easy for me to pump and breastfeed in this. So don't think that you have to look exclusively at nursing tops. Check out some of those stretchy tank tops because they're really good for that postpartum time. They're really comfortable, they're soft, you fit in them, and they can be really good for nursing as well. Moving along, so you've had your baby, hooray. These are sort of some things that I learned about that postpartum time. So this is something that I literally never would have thought of, but I have worked my entire life, so I've gone to work every single day and I've worn shoes, okay. But now I'm home and all of a sudden, like, my body hurts from just having a baby, but like my feet hurt and my back hurt. And I realized it's because I'm standing on tile all day with no shoes. So anyway, my mother-in-law was wearing these really comfortable, like, she let me try them on, these really comfortable sandals. And I was like, I would love a pair of those. And she got some for me for the holidays, and I don't wear them outside. They're my house shoes. So I recommend getting a pair of house shoes, especially if you have hardwood floor or a tile in your house, because you might not be used to not wearing shoes. And then all of a sudden you're home for, I don't know, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 12 weeks. I guess it depends on how long your maternity is, and you're home and you're not wearing shoes. And wearing shoes was such a game changer when it came to not being in pain with my heels, my feet, my back. So think about treating yourself to a really comfortable pair of like house shoes, slippers, sandals, something with like that support, because that might help you a lot. It helped me so much. My next tip is do not be upset if you don't fit into your old clothes. So, all right, I'm gonna like rant for just a minute here. So when I had my baby, I was just looking on Pinterest. I mean, that was probably my first mistake. You shouldn't look for fitness or health advice on Pinterest, right? If you've been there and you've seen some of the crazy advice, you know what I'm talking about. So there was this mom blog and she's like real famous and she gives like tips for getting, healthy after having a baby. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this. So I read, and one of her pieces of advice, was don't buy yourself any new clothing because it's only going to encourage you to not lose your baby weight. And don't buy yourself anything because it's not going to be encouraging to you. And I was like, that is super negative and super toxic, and I'm not going to listen to that, and you shouldn't listen to that either. And here's why. So you might lose all of your baby weight, and there are certain items in your closet that still might not fit. So for example, I have this pair of shorts and I'm not at my pre-baby weight right now. I'm pretty close, but no matter how much weight I lose, like my hips have changed, I'm never gonna fit in those shorts again. And I'm not gonna beat myself up about that. Like, I think that's a really mean thing to do to yourself. And I also think that's really mean advice to tell somebody, like, don't buy yourself any new clothes because like your new body doesn't deserve it, only your old body. Except that there are certain things that might not fit. I had a pair of jeans that fit me 3 weeks postpartum. They're stretchy jeans. It was still a little snug, but they fit. But like I said, then I have these shorts that like, they're never gonna fit me again, and I donated them. It's okay. I'm not gonna hold myself to this ridiculous standard, which I'm not really sure why it's this thing that we have to always fit exactly in the same clothes that we used to own. And it can be something as like, well, I still fit in my shorts from high school. I still fit in my wedding dress. And if you do, great. But if you don't, there should be no punishment for that. So anyway, I know that was kind of long and rambly, but my point is, do not beat yourself up if there are certain clothing items that are not gonna fit you anymore or don't fit you right now. If you know they're never gonna fit you again, like I know about these shorts, I got rid of them. I donated them. I was like, it's okay. If there are certain things where you're like, I feel like I said, the jeans, they were a little snug. I'm like, I'm gonna keep these because they might fit a little bit more comfortably one day. Fine. But don't beat yourself up, okay? Go buy yourself some new things. I know that sometimes money is a little bit tight after you have a baby because now you have another person to take care of and maybe your income has changed because you're not working. But if you can swing it, I definitely recommend going and buying yourself a few things because it's no fun physically, emotionally, mentally when you're digging through your drawers in your closet and you can't find anything that fits. And it's just, that's really hard, I think. So definitely go ahead and buy yourself a few things if you can swing it for right after you have the baby. And maybe you don't buy yourself a ton of things because your body is likely still going to be changing over the next year. I know mine is. But just something to keep in mind. Don't punish yourself. Treat yourself. So going along with that, if you can, set aside for your whole pregnancy, if you can do it, $5 here, $10 there, $15 here, $3 there. Just try to put some money away. And at the end of your pregnancy, get yourself a gift card that when you have your baby, when you're a few weeks postpartum and you're like, things like kind of don't fit, you can treat yourself to something nice, buy something for you, not your baby, buy something for you. Even if it's something you know that you're not gonna wear long term, like maybe a comfy pair of sweatpants, you're like, I don't really wear sweatpants, but you want them now, go for it. Sweatpants, leggings, tunics, sweatshirts, maybe some new bras, anything that's going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more like yourself. And having that gift card, I did this for myself actually. I just put away some money and I was like, you are gonna get yourself some new clothing, and I'm really glad I did. And it helps you feel a little bit more like yourself in a time when you're going through a lot of body changes, hormonal adjustments, maybe a little bit of sleep deprivation, all of the above. So definitely recommend setting aside some money so that you can buy yourself something nice. And my last tip for you is don't make any big decisions right away about what to do with your maternity clothing. So I think I've kind of alluded to this, but the postpartum newborn phase was just not one that was particularly easy for myself or my husband really. I think it was just a really big adjustment for the two of us, and it was hard. It was really hard. We're doing good now, and I'm grateful for that. And when I first had Penny, I was super grateful for her, but it was just so hard at first. And I remember going through my maternity clothing, and I looked at Zach, and we were like, "What should we do with this? Like, do we donate it? Do we set it on fire? What do we do with this?" And I was like, you know what? Being 3 weeks postpartum, when we both haven't slept, you're back to work now, things are crazy. This is not a time for us to decide if we're gonna have another child or not. And to be honest with you, now Penny is almost a year and we're still not exactly sure if we're gonna have another or not. I always imagined myself having 2 kids, but yeah, we'll see. You know what, we'll see. Even now it's kind of a hard decision to make, so I'm gonna just be patient with myself and give myself time. But 3 weeks postpartum, when I was kind of going through some clothing, was not the time to decide. So take the pressure off yourself. If you know for a fact that you're absolutely done having kids, yeah, donate them, give them to a friend. But if you're not sure, go to Target, get yourself a big plastic bin for $5 and just put your stuff in there, put it in a closet, in the garage, put it away. And when you have more time to think about it, or you're in a better mental place to think about it, then you can decide what to do with your clothing. But in general, I definitely recommend when you're in those first few weeks, first few months, not making any big decisions really about anything. So hopefully that was a useful tip for you. You can just kind of tuck those things away. Anyway, there you have it, my postpartum and maternity clothing tips. And I hope this was useful and I hope it was helpful to you if you are, in any one of those phases of your life right now. If there were any tips that I didn't mention that you want to leave below, or any questions you have, I would love to hear them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.